Hello, I'm Darius Stewart,
And I'm Abby Higginbotham.
and we're here with Rue News.
We have spoken with the three Student Government Association presidential hopefuls about their plan and goal for the SGA future. With the election approaching next week on March 16th through the 18th, we have compiled our interviews to give you a closer look at the candidates.
First up, we have Daphne Posadas, candidate for the Rue Strong ticket.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, guys. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll get right into it. What made you decide to run for SGA president?
So something that I've seen a lack of is definitely a bridge between SGA and the students. And it's funny to me because Student Government Association, the first word in that is student. Mm-hmm. Student Government Association probably makes up less than 1% of our school population, given that we're like 17,000 people and growing. It doesn't make sense for there to be a lack of student engagement in SGA. The people who are in it are passionate and are doing great, but what about everyone else? You can't have SGA without having those other voices, and sure, you can't please everybody, that makes sense, but if you're not continuously going out there and asking people what they need, what they want, if what I'm doing is great or not, if you want to give me negative feedback, positive feedback, comments, compliments, I'll take it all. I'm not doing my job. So it's something that I just don't understand why that isn't there. And given the fact that I have a lot of administrative pieces behind all the things I've gotten involved with my jobs on campus, I feel like I can bring that and also my passion and compassion for UMKC as well.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your policy plan that you guys want to bring?
Yeah, sure. So actually yesterday we took out our first policy that kind of like inspired everything, given that, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm the only female on the ticket. I love that, not because it's me, but because there's female representation on there.
Absolutely.
Given that yesterday was International Women's Day, we had our very first point on there, which is called vetera, which again, like I mentioned, our words are in Latin. So vetera, the archaic meaning is a woman, a strong woman, a strong warrior, and statistically 45% of students who come to college that are minorities don't graduate. And given that they have a minority status and they don't graduate, they aren't able to hold positions of power. Hope and I have the opportunity and we have the privilege of being able to be here and be at school. And statistically, we're not even supposed to be here. So it'd be kind of, I guess, disheartening to not use our privilege to be able to give voice to people that don't have it.
The opportunity that you guys have being here.
Yes. So we have an opportunity and we have every right to participate, even if we haven't held a position before an SGA. Our opportunity is here now, and why not take it?
We're really excited to see what happens with this SGA debate in the upcoming weeks. But yeah, thank you for coming in and giving us some insight on your plan for the SGA elections. Next is our current SGA president, Justice Horn, for the Progress Party. Glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. So we're just gonna jump into it. So.
All right, so I'll start. So what made you run for the president position again?
So what made me run is, I'm going to be very honest, there's a lot of work that needs to be done at our university. So in my first term, it was a lot of working to give the university an SGA it deserved. When I came in, SGA was in tatters. We were about 33 people strong, and now today we're about 74 people strong. But then not only with that, I mean, campus involvement and our campus image of SGA is at an all-time high. I mean, people trust the integrity of SGA. They see that we're out there working, and then we've completely revamped and jump-started SGA as well. Everything down to the seal in the office, we've done that, and even brought back a lot of the important things like 3 branches of governance, 3 leadership, and also big things like the sustainability committee, and then just even going down the list. I mean, recognizing days like the Hispanic Heritage Month, Women's History Month, Black History Month, and even LGBTQ Pride Month as well. So a lot of what I decided to run is that we have a lot of things to do. So kind of the 4 policies I'm tackling is parking reform, new food, new hours, expanding our diversity spaces, so that's MSA, the Rainbow Lounge, and our Women's Center, and then lastly, expanding counseling services, because SG is currently tackling counseling services with a referendum, but that will not be the only way to help counseling services. There's options for outside investment, third-party vendors, and or getting graduate students involved as well, because I think it's needed absolutely.
Jumping off that, so what do you think sets you apart from other presidential candidates?
So I think I'll split that up into 2 parts. I think one, experience. This will be my 5th election running an SGA. So I've done a year being president. My last school I was vice president. Then 2 years before that, I was a senator and chair of the state and local government committee. So I have a lot of years with experience with this. And then on the other side is representation. Not only looking at the 2016 campus climate survey, it was students of color and the LGBTQ students that felt that they were not welcome and or disenfranchised here at UMKC, and I represent both groups, being African American, Hawaiian, Caucasian, and Native American, and also being a member of the LGBTQ community.
Thank you so much for joining us and giving us some insight into your plan for the future of SGA.
Lastly, here is SGA presidential hopeful Brandon Henderson with Ruse for Reform.
Thank you for joining us, Brandon.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, what made you decide to run for SGA president?
So I took this last fall semester off because I was going through basic training for the Army National Guard. And when I came back to school this spring, I noticed that a lot of the problems that existed on campus during my first 2 years were still an issue. And so the question that I asked myself was, what can I do to help make this university better for my fellow students? And the answer to that question was to run for SGA president, and that's why I'm doing it.
All right, and what do you think qualifies you to run for SGA president?
I think I have the most important qualification there is. I'm a student that cares about my fellow students, and I really think that's the only thing that matters. But if we want to talk about experience, I've worked as an intern for the Associated Students of the University of Missouri, and I've also served as the chapter president. So I have a lot of experience with the legislative side of things and like the Missouri General Assembly and higher education funding. Like I know what that process looks like. On campus, I've done a lot of work with the food pantry. My freshman year, I helped implement a program that allows students to donate their meal swipes to the food pantry on campus. That way, if you're a student who doesn't have a meal plan but you want to eat at the cafeteria, you can get a few swipes from the food pantry and you can join your friends at the cafeteria. And then finally, I've also worked on campus to help make voter registration easier. I worked with different student groups on campus to bring TurboVote into the mainstream. TurboVote is a program that lets you register people to vote online, and it lets you sign them up for election reminders to make sure they know when the election is happening. So big picture, like I care about the people I go to school with, but I also have a lot of experience and involvement on campus as well.
Nice. All right. Well, so the name of your ticket is Ruse Reform. What do you plan on reforming?
So there's kind of two approaches here with this question. So on campus, we want to change the way that SGA does its business, right? In my conversations with students on campus since I've gotten back, I've been going to all the SGA meetings myself. I do not expect these 16,000 students on UMKC's campus to all make that commitment to go to those meetings in person, right? And so I talk to people who aren't able to attend those meetings, and I ask them, like, do you know what's going on in SGA right now? Do you know that we're potentially getting ready to vote on a fee increase for students? Do you know that, this is going on or that's going on? And they don't know. And so I want to change that, and I want SGA to be more accessible and accountable to students.
Okay, and what is the one thing you want students to know about you?
The one thing I want students to know about me, I make TikToks, and they're pretty funny. Okay, no, seriously though. If there's one thing I want students to know about me, it's that I care, right? When I got to college my freshman year, I didn't really have a whole lot of money, and I had to take out loans that first year. And that experience taught me a lot about the struggles that a lot of students go through on campus to make ends meet, There are studies that show about a third of college students are food insecure. Roughly the same ratio are housing insecure, meaning they don't have, stable housing. There's a lot of rampant poverty amongst college students that I think has been kind of accepted as normal. And so I guess there's one thing that I want students to know about me. It's that I'm not going to accept things for the way they are. I'm going to do everything in my power to make them better.
Thank you so much for coming. We hope to hear a lot more from the SGA race as it continues.
Thank you for inviting me. It's going to be fun, so stay tuned.
Thank you for tuning in as we get to know each SGA presidential candidate. And remember, voting will begin on March 16th and last until the 18th. I'm Darius Stewart.
And I'm Abby Higginbotham. See you next Tuesday.